السلام عليكم. Welcome back to another episode of Quran Weekly, where we read the Quran in Arabic, but discuss it in English. My name is Ahmad.
And my name is Safa.
And we're happy to be taking you on to another episode of the reading, where we continue in chapter 5, Surah Al-Ma'idah. Before we begin, we must always clarify that we are not scholars in the Arabic language, we are not like linguists, and we are not scholars in the Quranic studies. We do not have necessarily qualifications to do this. We are merely learning on our own and sharing our learning process with you, and we hope that you join us along the ride and post your comments and feedback on the discussions. So if there's a discussion in the comments, we're very happy. If we get something wrong, please feel free to kind of give us your perspective on it. This is supposed to be educational. It's supposed to be information sharing. We're not saying that this is how you should understand it, but we're just saying this is how we understand it, and we welcome you to the discussion. Is there anything you want to get off your chest before we black t-shirt wearers get into it?
No, good for me.
Cool. Then off we go. As usual, we begin with أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم and بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. The first being I seek refuge from God of the devil. So I seek God to protect us from the devil, and in the name of God, who's most merciful and whose mercy is most encompassing. We always do that before we start every session. And off we go.
يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تتخذوا اليهود والنصارى أولياء بعضهم أولياء بعض ومن يتولهم منكم فإنه منهم إن الله لا يهدي القوم الظالمين.
Wow, off to a very spicy start and a bit scary, interesting little verse. Let's get into it. O ye of those who believe, do not take the Jews and the Christians as allies or guardians in the translation below. Some of them are guardians and allies to the others. And whoever takes them as allies from you, then indeed he is of them. And indeed, God does not guide the people that are wrongdoing.
So, of course, the first question is this just was for a particular situation, or is this in general?
The way that I understand it, it seems like it's in general, but...
Yeah, in one of the tafsir, in one of the interpretations, it mentioned that this was after the Uhud battle, because some of the Muslims seek refuge from Christians and Jews, and then they were betrayed or something. So it might be related to this, and it might be in general. I don't know.
As we understood from the last time that we were reading, this is one of the last surahs to be revealed.
Yeah.
So just by logical conclusion that this comes at the end, not at the beginning. So I would imagine that this applies to most. And if anything, the previous verses that we were talking about was talking about the differences between Muslims, Christians, and Jews, and that God will tell us, God will inform you of what you were concerning and differing in. So there is a distinct line that the Quran is drawing between Christians, Muslims, and Jews.
Yeah.
And it's saying that if you're a Muslim, then you should kind of stick to your own and seek guardians only from Muslims.
I don't want to think of it as a general statement.
Yeah.
But of course, you can take it like a general rule.
And the spicy part for me is that it ends with, indeed, God does not guide the people that are doing wrong.
Yeah.
So,
all the verses, I think the remaining verses for today, they all speak about Christians and Jews and the differences between Muslims, Christians, and Jews.
Okay.
And it will come in one verse that there are good Christians and Jews who believe in God and who do good, and for these people they are in a good place.
Yeah.
And what it says, there is no fear for them and they should not be scared or something like that. I don't want to think like all Jews and all Christians are bad and you should not take them as allies and like...
Completely agreed. I think just the concept here, the way that the message that I'm understanding is that take them as guardians, not or allies. It's kind of saying for each group member to stick within their group. It's saying for Muslims to stick with Muslims, Christians to stick with Christians, Jews to stick with Christians.
But
Jews
also
to stick with Jews.
To be honest, like the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was married to a Christian woman.
Yeah.
So it's not like Muslims should not deal with Christians or Jews in any situation. You can even marry a Christian person, because we consider all Christians and Jews as also people of the book who believe in God and the same God, and the three messages came from the same God.
I agree. But then what does this mean? O ye of people who believe, do not take the Jews or the Christians as allies. Maybe there's that's not what I wanted to do.
I think that these were for particular situations. And I think in the next verse also it's talking about a particular situation. It's not like a general thing.
Yeah, but I don't know that I necessarily see the same, because it does feel like a broad statement. But maybe let's go through and it'll make more sense as we continue.
فترى الذين في قلوبهم مرض يسارعون فيهم يقولون نخشى أن تصيبنا دائرة فعسى الله أن يأتي بالفتح أو أمر من عنده فيصبحوا على ما أسروا في أنفسهم نادمين.
Okay, bit of a complicated verse. And you see those that in their hearts is a disease, that they hasten to them, by saying, we fear that it strikes us a misfortune. We fear that we are begot a misfortune, a first misfortune comes upon us. But perhaps God is the one that will bring, materializes. Oh, okay, nice, materializes. Thank you, James, for the word. Yeah, to materialize a misfortune for them. Welcome to the channel. But perhaps, indeed, God is the one that will bring the victory, or a decision from Him, so that they will become, for what they had concealed within themselves, regretful. Okay.
So this simply means that some of the believers who were weak, who have sickness in their heart, this means who were weak or who did not have strong faith, they go quickly to the Jews and the Christians, telling them we are scared that things turn around.
Yeah.
And in a way the Muslims are defeated or something, so we want to be with you. This is why I'm saying that this is probably related to a particular situation, or
But then I would say that situation kind of repeats itself. And I think that there's more to be understood from the analogy. So in the future, if there are wars or whatever,
yes,
then this type of situation would apply again.
Yes, but it's for wars. That's what I mean.
Okay, so that's what you mean by specific situation. I thought you meant a specific point in time, whereas, for me it means that it can repeat.
It can repeat, but I mean it's a particular situation, not in every way.
Sure.
Yeah. So this means that these people who were weak, they went to the Christian and the Jews for protection, saying that we are scared that it turns around and we will be defeated instead.
Yeah.
And then afterwards it said
that
maybe God will bring the victory from His side. And then in that case these people will regret what they did,
what they concealed in themselves.
Yes.
Okay, clear. So the message is trust God, don't listen to your fears,
and don't betray your people because you're scared. So I think in a way there's also people who betray their own people in wars and go with the other side.
Okay.
This I think it's definitely not a good thing.
Yeah. Okay.
ويقول الذين آمنوا أهؤلاء وأقسموا بالله جهد أيمانهم إنهم لمعكم حبطت أعمالهم فأصبحوا خاسرين.
Yeah, continuation, and it will say those that believe, these are the ones that swore by God the strongest of their oaths, that they are indeed with you, but they became worthless because of their deeds, and they became the losers. Yeah, clear?
Yeah.
It's talking about times of breaking your oath, not listening to it, and that's kind of the concept.
And a war that these people like swore to be on the side of the Muslims, and then they betrayed them.
What are the two of you doing this on stream for? Well, I record it everywhere on YouTube. The idea is that hopefully people will come and join our stream and learn from us. Like, we're putting all these episodes on YouTube, so the fact that there is a possibility for people to join us and discuss with us, I think it's quite nice. Already the YouTube videos are getting comments and getting a variety, and maybe as this grows along, as more people come, then this can be something that people can enjoy with us. But thank you for the question, James. That was a very good question. Yeah, and like, see, now we have you with us in the chat, so it's kind of helpful. It's lovely to see. Sometimes we have people drop by, ask questions. The more that we can share our faith learning experience, the more reward it is for us.
يا أيها الذين آمنوا من يرتد منكم عن دينه فسوف يأتي الله بقوم يحبهم ويحبونه أذلة على المؤمنين أعزة على الكافرين يجاهدون في سبيل الله ولا يخافون لومة لائم ذلك فضل الله يؤتيه من يشاء والله واسع عليم.
There's also another comment, but it's a bit difficult to respond to, so I'm going to say, Gabriel's presence would be more beneficial than mine for Quran reading. I wasn't present for his creation, he was. Interesting, but for the case of this discussion, we're good. We're just trying to learn on our own. We don't necessarily need specific.
I don't really understand this one.
It's okay. It's better that you don't understand it.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is an interesting verse. O ye of those who believe, whoever turns back from among you from his religion, then soon will be brought by God a people whom he loves and they love him, to humble the believers and stern on the disbelievers, and those people that God will bring will strive in the way of God. And there is no fear or blame. And they will not
fear being blamed by other people.
By a critic. That is because the grace of God, he grants to whom he wills, all-encompassing, and God is all-encompassing, all-knowing. So here it's kind of talking about those fears that we had, and for the ones that run away because you're worried that you're not going to be able to succeed. God will send the right people, the believers. So you just have to do what's right and stand for what's right. Don't be bothered by the people who turn away or who leave you. Don't be bothered by losing allies, because God will replace them with people who believe and who strive in the way of God, and you just have to have faith in God.
Yeah, and I think in a way also in this verse it says that whoever goes back, abandons their faith, then it doesn't really matter, because there are other people. God will bring other people who will...
whom he loves and they love him.
Yeah, and who will be good to the believers and fight for their faith.
And stern against the disbelievers.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
And it was said, like in one of the interpretations, they related this to what happened after the prophet died. because after the Prophet died, a lot of people turned back to their old beliefs.
Yeah.
So they were Muslims, but then when the Prophet died, they were like, okay, we're not believers anymore. So in some of the interpretations, it relates this to that situation, that despite of this, there were a lot of caliphates who came and who were very passionate about the religion and tried to make it stronger.
Yeah.
إنما وليكم الله ورسوله والذين آمنوا الذين يقيمون الصلاة ويؤتون الزكاة وهم راكعون.
I love these verses. They're very beautiful. Worry not about the actions of shallow people. Focus only on those who stay true to God. Agreed. Don't worry about the shallow people. Focus only on this. Stay true to God. Very good comment, James. I love this verse. Innama. It's only or if your ally but really your ally is God and His messenger, and those who believe and those who establish prayer and they give zakah, which is alms tax, to like give to the poor. And while they are raki'in, bowing down, and this is a sign of humility, this is a sign of like submission, that you don't think of yourself as, oh my God, I'm great. You always think God is greater. You always think this is good. And these are the guardians for the people. So you just have to worry about the ones who are humble, who stay good to God, and they will be your allies. And those are the ones that you have to kind of which can also imply to Christians and Jews. I don't see that this is, I don't think this allows that, but let's not get into too complicated of a discussion. Let's just continue reading.
ومن يتول الله ورسوله والذين آمنوا فإن حزب الله هم الغالبون.
And whoever takes an ally as God and His messenger, and those who believe, then indeed the party of God, it's like the team of God, then it is God's party, the people fighting on God's side are the ones that will be victorious. What's amazing is that the previous thing I typed was typed without my awareness of this Quran passage. I'm just tagged in. I'm just that tapped in, I guess. Nice. We're very happy that you're tuned in. Nice to have you on board. So whoever allies themselves with God and His messengers and the fellow believers, and it is this party that will prevail. Yeah, this is a promise from God.
أيها الذين آمنوا لا تتخذوا الذين اتخذوا دينكم هزوا ولعبا من الذين أوتوا الكتاب من قبلكم والكفار أولياء واتقوا الله إن كنتم مؤمنين.
Yeah, well, talk about Christians and Jews, and they show up in the next sentence.
In my opinion, this is not particularly to the Christians and Jews,
but it's to
for
all.
Anyone who mocks.
Okay. O ye of those who believe, do not take those that take your religion in ridicule and in fun and playfulness from those who were given the book from before you, and the disbelievers as allies, and be mindful or fear God indeed if you are true believers. So here it's saying anybody that was given the scripture but takes it in a lighthearted manner, doesn't really take it seriously, don't seek guardianship from them. Beware.
Whoever mocks your religion, the way I see it is whoever makes fun of your faith.
Makes fun of your faith, or takes it in a very, sure, it's this, it's that. They're not really taking it seriously. Don't take them on board. And indeed, and fear God if you are true believers. Yeah, be mindful of God. I like mindful, but it could be fear, but being mindful is being consciously aware of something. So.
وَإِذَا نَادَيْتُمْ إِلَى الصَّلَاةِ اتَّخَذُوهَا هُزُوًا وَلَعِبًا ذَلِكَ بِأَنَّهُمْ قَوْمٌ لَا يَعْقِلُونَ.
Yeah. And when you make the call to prayer, they take it as in ridicule or fun, and that is because they are people that do not understand. People without understanding. Yeah? Being very clear about what those people that don't take religion seriously do.
Yeah.
Also when it comes to calls to prayer.
قُلْ يَا أَهْلَ الْكِتَابِ هَلْ تَنقِمُونَ مِنَّا إِلَّا أَنْ آمَنَّا بِاللَّهِ وَمَا أُنزِلَ إِلَيْنَا وَمَا أُنزِلَ مِن قَبْلُ وَأَنَّ أَكْثَرَكُمْ فَاسِقُونَ.
Okay, so before we get into this verse, there's a comment. James is saying, I don't think God ever pitted Muslims and Jews against each other. I feel humans did that to themselves. If they are true believers, the two religions simply merge into one. We kind of share this view. We believe that Muslims, Christians, and Jews were all given scriptures, we're all part of the one true religion, and that there should be unity between them. But these verses that we're talking about does make a distinction between the three, and there is a point to the distinction. We don't know what the point is. From last week's episode, we know that God said that at the end, He will make it clear to us why they differed, or what is the difference between them.
Also, I think this is related to the verse that we are reading now.
Yeah.
Because in this verse it says, say to the prophet, say to the people of the book, why do you hate us that much? We believe in God and we believe in what has been revealed to us and what has been revealed before us. So we also believe that the messages that came before were also revealed from God and are true messages from God.
Yeah.
And actually, I heard many people talk about it. It's not my personal opinion. Like, we believe in Christianity and Judaism, and we also believe that there are other religions that maybe we don't know about. Because there is a verse in Quran that says that the prophet, he knows about, like, God told him about some messengers, and also there are others that were not mentioned to him.
Yeah.
So I heard that many people also say that maybe Buddha was also a prophet from God who came with a message.
Separate message.
So actually, I think that a true Muslim should believe in all different religions and should have an open mind.
Yeah.
To the different beliefs.
To some extent, the conditions of which Muslims have to believe in, they have to believe in the one true God, one true source, and that there aren't multiple gods.
Yeah.
But that being said, like, I've heard Hinduism referred to as all their gods coming from one source, and they're just different manifestations of that God.
Yeah.
So then it gets a little bit complicated. But let's just stick with the verse that we have at hand. Exactly what James's question was saying, or not question, comment, that here when we meet the people of the book that are mocking us or ridiculing us, all we have to do is say, why do you resent us, except for that we believe in God and what has been revealed to us and what has been revealed from before. So we also believe in what was revealed to you. But indeed, most of them are defiantly disobedient. Shallow people hate those who are confident in something. The shallow person is too self-obsessed to comprehend. Sure.
Yeah.
قُلْ هَلْ أُنَبِّئُكُم بِشَرٍّ مِّن ذَلِكَ مَثُوبَةً عِندَ اللَّهِ مَن لَّعَنَهُ اللَّهُ وَغَضِبَ عَلَيْهِ وَجَعَلَ مِنْهُمُ الْقِرَدَةَ وَالْخَنَازِيرَ وَعَبَدَ الطَّاغُوتَ أُولَٰئِكَ شَرٌّ مَّكَانًا وَأَضَلُّ عَن سَوَاءِ السَّبِيلِ.
Okay, some serious words here. Say, shall I inform you of something that is an evil or worse, that is a recompense from God for who has been cursed by God or has made him angry on him, and made from him apes and swines, and worshipping of the false deities, the idols. Those are worse in position, and those are strayed the furthest from even the and
they were distracted, or they were
led furthest astray from
the good
path.
From the good path, yes. And actually, this is kind of interesting to me, because I don't really know what it means that they were made into apes and swines.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is something that actually happened before, or this is
a metaphor, for example.
Yeah.
So it's possible that, you're saying you're reducing them to animals,
yes.
Or
maybe they became like animals, like in their behaviors.
Yeah.
They became like animals.
Yeah. So those are the ones for sure that are in a position that's furthest away from the correct path.
Yeah, and if you relate this verse to the previous verse, it's because in the previous verse it was saying to the people of the book, why do you hate us so much? We just believe in God and in our religion and in your religion as well. And then here it's saying, I'm giving you what is like the worst thing ever, is those people who were cursed by God. And then they were made into apes and swines and worshippers of...
Yeah.
A taghut can mean like the devil, or
the idols,
or idols, or evil, or it can have several meanings.
A variety of meanings.
Yeah.
Yeah. So don't be monkeys or pigs.
وإذا جاءوكم قالوا آمنا وقد دخلوا بالكفر وهم قد خرجوا به والله أعلم بما كانوا يكتمون.
Yeah, back to the munafiqun, which is a very serious theme. Munafiqun are the ones that say they believe but they don't believe. And when they come to you, they say, we believe, but certainly they entered with disbelief, and they had even
went. And they also left with disbelief.
They also left with disbelief.
Yeah.
And God knows best about what they were hiding. So don't conceal within your heart.
وترى كثيرا منهم يسارعون في الإثم والعدوان وأكلهم السحت لبئس ما كانوا يعملون.
Continuation of those people who disbelieve, who say they believe but they disbelieve, and you see many of them. They hasten into sin and transgression, and the eating of the forbidden.
And
surely
that means like gaining money through forbidden ways.
That's one way.
Being
bribed, or also like
stealing, or
taking the pleasures of life that are forbidden. But that's a bit unclear to me what that means. But the eating of the forbidden, I think it also kind of akins back to the Adam and Eve and the forbidden fruit. That there's something about doing the wrong thing that you're kind of getting a benefit by doing the wrong thing, so to speak. So it's a big statement.
Yeah.
And surely is evil of what they were doing. There's a post. A very controversial fact. The truth is God made this reality. The multiverse is real. The other gods are not false. However, they are creators of other realities. Within the multiverse, gods from other realities have the ability to interact with us, even though they did not make us. Interesting post. A little bit too off the discussion from what we're looking at, so it's a bit hard to respond to it. But yeah, thanks for sharing. Okay.
لولا ينهاهم الربانيون والأحبار عن قولهم الإثم وأكلهم السحت لبئس ما كانوا يصنعون.
Okay, here's if you want to blame somebody. Why do not the rabbis and the scholars forbid them from their saying and their sinful eating of the forbidden fruit to consume. Here we can also understand it as the unjust tax, taking too much, as an example. Surely is evil from what they used to do. So here's a question, and it draws it to their rabbis and their scholars. Why are they not forbidding them from...
The rabbis and the priests.
Al-ahbar is priests?
In the interpretation, it says like the rabbis for the الفقهاء من المسيحيين واليهود.
The scholars from the Christians and the Jews.
Yeah. So it's like it can be the scholars.
So why didn't they forbid them from doing and eating the forbidden? So I also could take pork as one of these things, because pork was forbidden in the Jewish faith, and if you read the Old Testament, it says pork is forbidden, but in the New Testament, they go around it by saying Jesus said that there's nothing that can enter your body that can bring more sin. Just want to make sure you're in camera. That can bring more sin. So that's why we can eat pork, because then it can't be something from outside can't be brought into sin for us, which I find as a weird reach around to kind of explain it. So this is also an example of it. Eating pork is something that is mentioned.
Yeah. So here it says, why wouldn't their rabbis? So I think it doesn't say that they didn't advise them, but it's like it's a particular way of saying it. It doesn't specifically mention that they didn't advise them, but it says like they should advise them, or if they hadn't advised them or something. Do you know what I mean?
For me, it seems like it's also present tense. لولا ينهاهم, which means should they forbid them?
Yes. Should they forbid them from
their saying of sinful,
from the wrong things that they say and do,
and eating?
This would have been very bad for them, or like.
Because surely it's evil from what they were doing. So this is kind of like a call to the rabbis and the scholars, like, why aren't you stopping them from doing the wrong thing? Because this is quite terrible to do this thing. When God said there's no God but me, the comment says, when God said there is no God but me, that's what he meant. There's no God of this reality but me. A bit too far off what we're discussing again, but thank you for your comment. Continuing.
وقالت اليهود يد الله مغلولة غلت أيديهم ولعنوا بما قالوا بل يداه مبسوطتان ينفق كيف يشاء وليزيدن كثيرا منهم ما أنزل إليك من ربك طغيانا وكفرا وألقينا بينهم العداوة والبغضاء إلى يوم القيامة كلما أوقدوا نارا للحرب أطفأها الله ويسعون في الأرض فسادا والله لا يحب المفسدين.
Okay, a bit of a long verse, and it's kind of complicated. And said the Jews, the hand of God is chained as the...
Yeah, and it means like they do not get...
they don't get benefits or blessings.
They are not getting like... I don't know how to say it in English, but it's like
something that you get that helps you have a good life, have an easy life. It's like a blessing. It's like a
يعني إيه بخل?
Greed.
No, بخل is greed.
Yeah, بخيل, بخل.
Yeah, this is what it means. Like
that God's hand is God's hand is tight, and God's hand's greedy, and he's not that. So are changed their hands. So God's hand is tight, so our hands are tight. And they have been cursed for what they said. Nay, the God's hands are stretched out, and he spends however he wills, and he will surely increase many of them what has been revealed to you.
What has been revealed to you will increase many of them in their disbelief and their
from God. They'll increase
and their rebellion against
what has been
God.
Yeah, so God's hand will increase their disbelief.
No, like what has been revealed to the prophet. Here it says like ما أنزل إليك, like what has been revealed to you, to the prophet, will increase many of them in their disbelief and rebellion against God. Instead of guiding them to the right way, it will, on the other hand, it will do the opposite.
Yeah.
Basically.
So what has been revealed to you will push them towards rebellion and disbelief, and we have cast among them enmity and hatred till the day of resurrection. Every time their kindled fire of war was extinguished by God, and surely they strive in this earth to spread corruption, and God does not love the corruptors. Pretty harsh words, pretty serious words, and almost relevant to today.
Today, yeah. And the first question that came to me when reading this, because it's speaking specifically about the Jews, and I think in many other ways it's not very clear, but here it's very clear that it's speaking particularly about the Jews and about them like igniting wars, and that every time they ignite a war, God
extinguishes it.
Yeah, and then the first question that came to mind, like, why isn't this happening today with the war that's going on today?
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I've always been saying sometimes it has to get worse before it gets better.
Yeah, I hope this will happen one day, then this will end soon.
Yeah. We would love the fire of war to be extinguished. That would be nice.
Yeah, and also the same question like we discussed for the first verse, is this in general or is this for this particular era and the time of the prophet and the caliphates and so on? I don't know. Does this also apply to today?
Till the day of resurrection.
Yeah.
It'll apply always, apparently.
Yeah. I hope so. And another interesting thing in this verse is that, I don't know if you noticed, but it says the hand of God is tied. I found this very interesting.
Why?
Because it's talking about God, that God has a hand.
Oh yeah, but it's a metaphor.
Yeah, but I found it interesting.
And I somehow feel like God is not human, but he is the God for humans. So if you think about idealized self, he's the perfect creation, the perfect being. The perfect being also has a hand, no?
I don't know, but it's just interesting when you think of it like God's hand, because I think not in all the verses there are this kind of metaphors that it talks about God as a human who has a hand, like it's this kind of metaphor, you know.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
ولو أن أهل الكتاب آمنوا واتقوا لكفرنا عنهم سيئاتهم ولأدخلناهم جنات النعيم.
Yeah, and here is saying, just to be clear, and if the people of the book believed and feared God, then surely we would have removed for them their evil deeds, their sins, and we have admitted them to the heavens of bliss. So here is saying, even though there's a difference between Jews and Christians, and even though these passages talk about the differences between Jews and Christians, the message is very clear. If the people of the book, that's Muslims, Christians, and Jews, believe and are mindful of God, they will surely be removed for them their sins, and we will admit them into the gardens of bliss.
Yeah.
So all three have entry to the gardens of bliss. Not only Muslims, not only Jews, not only Christians. As long as you do good and are mindful of God, then you will get into heaven.
Yeah, and
very
the same,
clear.
Yeah, and the same is mentioned in another verse. So I think it's confirmed in multiple verses that even for the people of the books, those who believe and who do good, they are safe and they will go to heaven.
Yeah, beautiful message.
Yeah.
ولو أنهم أقاموا التوراة والإنجيل وما أنزل إليهم من ربهم لأكلوا من فوقهم ومن تحت أرجلهم منهم أمة مقتصدة وكثير منهم ساء ما يعملون.
Okay. And if they had stood firmly in the Torah and the Injil is the Bible, the Torah is the Torah, Taurat is the Torah. If they had followed them firmly and stood firmly with them, and what has been revealed to them from God, from their God, then surely they would have eaten from above them and from beneath their feet, which also is it's an expression or a metaphor of abundance. They would have eaten from above and below them. They would have been overwhelmed with blessings and kindness.
Yes, and you can relate it to the verse where they said that God's hands are tied.
Yeah.
So here it says, if only they believed and they did and they followed what has been revealed to them, they would have been
blessed more than they can ever imagine.
Yeah.
And among them are a community that is moderate and upright. I like the expression.
Yeah.
But many of them are evil in what they do. So, yet many of them do nothing but evil. Okay, next section.
يا أيها الرسول بلغ ما أنزل إليك من ربك وإن لم تفعل فما بلغت رسالته والله يعصمك من الناس إن الله لا يهدي القوم الكافرين.
Okay, this is a bit interesting. And I don't know why I'm personally relating to it, but O ye messenger, convey what has been revealed to you from your Lord. And if you do not, then you have not conveyed the message of God.
Then the message will not reach people.
Then the message will not reach people. Then you will not have delivered his message. And God will protect you from the people. Indeed, God does not guide a people that are disbelieving. So here it's saying very clear, share the message and don't be bothered by those that don't believe and don't worry about them. God will deal with them. You just have to do what's right.
Protect you.
You just have to do what's right and know that God does not guide the people that are disbelieving. So know that there is an intent behind their disbelief. According to God, we don't understand it, but God knows that those people are supposed to be disbelievers. And there's a rhyme and reason to it, so just trust in God.
Yeah, and I just wanted to mention that this was particularly talking to the prophet.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people said that he did not reveal that he did not deliver all of the message he had, or that he lied, or that he.
Yeah.
And then here it says just deliver the message that you were given and don't worry about these people because God will protect you from them.
Yeah, I agree.
قل يا أهل الكتاب لستم على شيء حتى تقيموا التوراة والإنجيل وما أنزل إليكم من ربكم وليزيدن كثيرا منهم ما أنزل إليك من ربك طغيانا وكفرا فلا تأس على القوم الكافرين.
Okay. Say, O people of the book, you are not on anything standing until you stand firmly by the Torah, which is the book for the Jews, and the Injil, which is the Bible for the Christians. You stand on nothing unless you stand by the Torah and the Bible, and what has been revealed to you from God. And surely you'll increase many of them with what has been revealed to you prophet, from your Lord, it will increase them in rebellion and disbelief. So do not grieve over a people that are disbelieving. Yeah, so here it's saying, it's kind of like telling the Christians and the Jews, stand by what has been revealed to you and hold firmly onto it. And if you don't stand by it, then you're not really holding firmly onto anything. And that what has been revealed to the prophets or the messenger is going to cause them to do, what we discussed before, going to cause them to cause more in rebellion and more in disbelief. Oh. So do not grieve for a people that are disbelieving. That is their fate, and there's not much you can do about it.
And I think this verse is the proof that Islam is not like what many people believe.
Yeah.
Because here it just says that Christians and Jews just stick to what you have and follow what you were given. Like, we will not force anyone to be Muslim. Like, not everyone has to be Muslim. Actually, in the previous verses also we saw that people, if he wanted us to be the same thing, it was possible, but this was meant to be for a particular reason. And whoever is a Christian or Jew, just stick to what you have, believe in God and do good, and then you're fine.
Very true, very powerful, very real. And the fact that people say that Muslims say only Muslims will get into heaven,
this is not
true.
Yeah.
All of them are valid in there.
إن الذين آمنوا والذين هادوا والصابئون والنصارى من آمن بالله واليوم الآخر وعمل صالحا فلا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون.
Very powerful, very clear. Talk us about exactly what we were discussing. Indeed, those who believed and those who became Jews and Sabians and Christians, whoever believed in God and the day of the last day and did good deeds, then there is no fear on them, and they will not be, nor will they grieve. Very powerful, very clear. Muslims, Christians, Jews, Sabians, anyone who truly believes in God the last day and does good, there will be no fear for them. Nor will they grieve.
And this is not even the first time that this verse is mentioned exactly in the same way, because if you remember, it was in Surah Al-Baqarah as well. So I think because it's very important, even though that everyone claims that this is not the case, that only their religion is right and only they will go to heaven. But I think it is powerful that it's mentioned twice, exactly the same verse, saying that the Jews, the Christians, and the Sabians, and I don't think that there are Sabians today.
I don't know who the Sabians are.
They say that they were followers of...
Sabians, sometimes called Sabain, are a mysterious religious group mentioned 3 times in the Quran, where it's implied they belong to the people of the book. Their original identity, which seems to have been forgotten at an early date, has been called an unsolved Quranic problem. So somehow I feel like this is a secret society. I don't know why.
I read that they were followers of Noah at some point in time. That they followed Noah, but maybe they don't exist anymore.
Or we don't know about them.
Yes, of course. And what I also find very beautiful about this verse, which is repeated twice, is that at the end it says, so there is no fear on them and they will not grieve. And in one of the interpretations, it relates that to the future and the past. Like there is no fear of the future and there is no grief on the past. Over the past.
Well, I mean, also, if you're a good person, you believe in God and the Day of Judgment, and you do good, and you have the true faith that this is the right thing to do, then naturally you won't have that fear, because you believe that God will take care of everything moving forward, and you won't grieve because you understand that everything that has happened for a reason. It's a trust in God. It's peaceful serenity.
لقد أخذنا ميثاق بني إسرائيل وأرسلنا إليهم رسلا كلما جاءهم رسول بما لا تهوى أنفسهم فريقا كذبوا وفريقا يقتلون.
And honestly, I can kind of see why a lot of animosity is between Muslims and the people of the children of Israel, because they're mentioned many times. But let's see what the verse says. Certainly we took a covenant with the children of Israel, and we sent towards them messengers, and every time came to them a messenger of what they do not desire for themselves, for their souls. A group of them denied them, and a group of them they killed them.
About the prophets, yeah.
Yeah.
So if someone comes to them with something they don't like, they either claim that they are lying or they kill them.
Yeah.
And
this is also echoing the scripture of the Old Testament and the New Testament. The children of Israel had killed a lot of their prophets, and this is something that has been quite agreed upon by all three, Muslims, Christians, and Jews. So this isn't new information, but this is just opening that story again.
Another point that I found interesting is that in this verse it says Bani Israel, the children of Israel, but in the previous verse it says the Jews, those who are Jews. So I don't know, to be honest, if this I don't know what is the difference when it's mentioned Jews or when it's mentioned children of Israel.
If I had to guess, Jews is a wider group, because you can become Jewish if you're not a descendant of the children of Israel.
Actually, until very recently, I think this was not possible. We discussed this before, but I think that,
don't get me wrong, they don't try and recruit, and it has like 20 million Jews worldwide, 19 million Jews worldwide, which is kind of, considering the 2.6 billion Christians and 1.9 billion Muslims, like the Jews are by far the smallest group. But I also believe that they technically can have more people within them. They just choose not to. So there is a difference between the descendants of Israel and the Jewish population.
Yeah, because at some point I heard that for you to become Jewish, you had to have a Jewish mother.
There are a few exceptions.
Yeah.
But let's not talk about that, which we do not know specifically.
وحسبوا ألا تكون فتنة فعموا وصموا ثم تاب الله عليهم ثم عموا وصموا كثير منهم والله بصير بما يعملون.
Okay, we see a cycle. And they thought that there will not be a trial or a test for them, so they became blind and they became deaf. Then God forgave them. Taba turned to them in forgiveness, specifically forgave them.
Yeah.
And then again they became blind and deaf, and for many of them, and God is all-seeing of what they do. So here it's seeing the cycle, and also you see this in the story of the children of Israel, that even with Moses, and that they were given they were saved from the Pharaoh, and they were kind of taken across the Nile, and then they started worshiping the calf, and then they were forgiven again, and then they were given another opportunity, and then again they make mistakes and they do it over and over again. And God is all-knowing of this endless cycle of forgiveness and repentance.
لقد كفر الذين قالوا إن الله هو المسيح ابن مريم وقال المسيح يا بني إسرائيل اعبدوا الله ربي وربكم إنه من يشرك بالله فقد حرم الله عليه الجنة ومأواه النار وما للظالمين من أنصار.
Interesting choice of word at the last one, which is pretty cool. But let's get into it. Pretty controversial for the Christians that believe that Jesus was God. Certainly disbelieve those that say that indeed God is the Messiah, the son of Miriam. And while the Messiah said, "O children of Israel, worship God." I mean, even in the Bible it says Jesus was saying, "Worship God, who is my Lord and your Lord." This is what Jesus was asking for. But indeed, those who associate partners with God, which again, putting Jesus to the level of God is the crime here, then surely they have forbidden on God for him. God has forbidden for him paradise, and their abode is a fire, and they will. And the wrongdoers do not have any helpers, which is why I said Ansar is an interesting concept, because they're known as the Nasara.
Yeah.
So Nasara is another word for Christians. So ironically that they're using the word helpers. So here it's being very clear, don't equate Jesus to God. Listen to what Jesus was saying. Jesus was saying, worship God. He's my God, he's your God, he's all the same God. We should all worship God. So if you truly love Jesus, then you would listen to what he said. Jesus did not say that he was God.
Yeah.
In any way, shape, or form. Not even in the Bible. So, I'm just a little bit of a heated discussion for it. Because I think the Christians are so good. And I think that they're fantastic. And I think that they do a lot of good. And they do a lot of wonders. And I really see them as our brothers and equals. But believing that a man was God is strange. Because it's not explicitly mentioned in the Bible. They just say, but this means that. And I go, how do you get to such a huge conclusion from context and inference and misunderstanding? It's wild. If Jesus was God, it would be very easy for him to say, by the way, I'm God. just in case there's no confusion. But they're like, no, he said, I am the light, or I am the Father and I are one, which I'm like, yeah, that means you're allies. You're on the same team. That doesn't necessarily mean you are the same person. There's a lot of metaphors in the texts. It just... Let's move on.
Yeah, but for us it's very clear.
Yeah.
There's only one God.
Yeah.
The message is clear. There's only one God. Jesus was a prophet from God, and he said so. He said I'm a prophet and worship God.
God, yeah.
Who is my God and your God.
Yeah. And I like Jesus. I love Jesus. So I listen to what he says.
Me too.
لقد كفر الذين قالوا إن الله ثالث ثلاثة وما من إله إلا إله واحد وإن لم ينتهوا عما يقولون ليمسن الذين كفروا منهم عذاب أليم.
More words about this. It seems God is just as frustrated as I am. Sorry. Certainly disbelieve those who say that indeed God is a third of three, and there is no God but God, only one. And if they do not desist from what they are saying, then surely they will afflict those who disbelieved from among them a punishment or a torment that is painful. There is no God but God. Don't say three. If they do not say saying this, those who disbelieve among them will be afflicted by a painful punishment. And if we go back to the first verses that we talked about, it's not necessarily a punishment, but it's a torment. It's a purifying torment. Like when you put a metal inside a hot flame to kind of get rid of all of the impurities, that's essentially the concept. It's not like punishment to make you suffer. It's punishment to purify you.
Yeah, because for some reason the English translation always puts azab as punishment.
Yeah.
Even though punishment is aqab, not azab. So
yeah, it's the wrong
honestly,
word.
I don't know why they do it this way, but it's just not the right translation for azab.
Torment is the first word that comes up.
Yeah, torment is the correct translation.
Yeah.
It's not punishment, it's torment.
But anyway.
أفلا يتوبون إلى الله ويستغفرونه والله غفور رحيم.
So will they not turn repentance towards God and seek his forgiveness? Indeed, God is oft forgiving and most merciful. Always there's a chance for you to kind of ask for forgiveness and move on.
Yeah.
ما المسيح ابن مريم إلا رسول قد خلت من قبله الرسل وأمه صديقة كانا يأكلان الطعام انظر كيف نبين لهم الآيات ثم انظر أنا يؤفكون.
Yeah. So, what is the Messiah, son of Maryam?
He was only a messenger.
What is he but a messenger? Certainly had passed from before him messengers, and his mother was truthful and honest. They both used to eat food.
Meaning that they were humans.
And Jesus often referred to himself as the Son of Man in the Bible as well, saying that speaking to his humanity. See how we make clear to them the signs, then see how they are deluded. So
see how they turn away from it.
Yeah, there are many signs that Jesus was human, but still the people, they turn away from it and they're deluded from the truth. Are we getting into the Last Supper? Because that's the name of this chapter. The chapter is called Al-Ma'idah. It might be hiding behind the camera. But Al-Ma'idah means the Last Supper, or the supper table. So I think we're going to get into that story soon.
قل أتعبدون من دون الله ما لا يملك لكم ضرا ولا نفعا والله هو السميع العليم.
Say, do you worship from besides God that which has no power for you or causes any harm to you, and no harm and no benefit, and while God is all hearing and all knowing. Again, during in the point of why are you worshiping Jesus, when Jesus told you that God is all powerful, Jesus never said that he was all powerful, and all of the works that he did, he said the Father is working through me, God is working through me. Why would you worship the man when he told you to worship God? And the man has no benefit or harm to you, but the God has all the benefit and harm to you. I feel like the Christians are going to hate me after this, but that's fine.
We're just giving the message from the Quran.
It's all our responsibility is to say the message.
Yes.
Yeah, we cannot suffer we cannot avoid the consequences.
قل يا أهل الكتاب لا تغلوا في دينكم غير الحق ولا تتبعوا أهواء قوم قد ضلوا من قبل وأضلوا كثيرا وضلوا عن سواء السبيل.
Yeah. Pretty open. Say, O people of the book, Christians, Jews, and Muslims, do not exceed in your religion, which is other than the truth, and do not follow the desires of a people that certainly went astray from before, and they misled many, and they strayed from the right path.
Yeah, and I think it's very powerful that it says, do not go to extremes in your religion.
Yeah.
And I think this may also relate to Christians, because it is going to extreme when you say that Jesus was God. Yeah. I think he was a prophet, but if you take it to the extreme level and you exaggerate, then maybe at some point you will say, okay, no, he was God. I think in a way it is exaggeration in your faith.
That is a form of it, but it also applies to Muslims. It also applies to Christians.
Yeah.
There are many Muslims that go to extremes within the religion, and they impose these weird rules and concepts. Oh, this is what this means. This means that you have to wear a hijab. This means that you have to hate people or deny people, or it gets any of the three religions. If you go into extremes without the truth, then you have gone too far. And
it shows that when you go to extremes, actually you stray away from the truth.
Yeah, where the truth is a lot more simpler, the truth is a lot more straightforward. It's about love, it's about encompassing. So Yeah, and don't follow the desires of a people. And this again follows the same concept. Don't follow just because your people say that it's true. There's a lot of things that the Muslim community says that we don't agree with, that we think is too extreme or too far or too intense, that is not explicitly mentioned in the Quran. Or that people's like, oh, this means this, i.e., this means this.
Yeah.
And we're like, no, that's an extreme conclusion that you've jumped to that we don't necessarily believe in. So we shouldn't have to follow the people just because that's what the people have been doing it for quite some time.
Yeah, and here it says that these people actually were misguided or misled from the correct path.
They have.
Then do not just follow them.
Yeah. But learn, educate, follow the truth, and you'll find the right way.
لعن الذين كفروا من بني إسرائيل على لسان داود وعيسى بن مريم ذلك بما عصوا وكانوا يعتدون.
This is a bit interesting. They were cursed, the ones who disbelieved from the children of Israel, by the tongue of David, and Jesus, the son of, and Isa, the son of Maryam. So they were cursed by the tongues of David and Jesus. That was because they disobeyed and they were transgressing. So here it's interesting that they were cursed by the tongues of David and Jesus, because David and Jesus gave them commandments and instructions.
They were their prophets.
They were their prophets, they were their messengers, and they gave them commands. And because they disobeyed, they were cursed. So it's weird that they were cursed from the guidance, which is a weird way, because if guidance comes to you and you turn away, then it's a form of a curse in a way.
Yeah, and it was mentioned that they were also cursed or condemned in the books that were given to David and to Jesus.
Yeah.
Jesus was given, of course, the Bible, and David, there is another book that was mentioned in the Quran specifically that was given to David.
The Zabur.
Yes.
I'm reading a little bit here and there. I'm learning.
Yes.
But that we'll talk about it in another stage. Oh.
كانوا لا يتناهون عن منكر فعلوه لبئس ما كانوا يفعلون.
They had been not forbidding each other from the wrongdoing, and they did it. And surely evil, oh what a shame, is how they were and what they were doing. Evil is indeed what they were doing, even though they didn't stop each other from following the commandments.
ترى كثيرا منهم يتولون الذين كفروا لبئس ما قدمت لهم أنفسهم أن سخط الله عليهم وفي العذاب هم خالدون.
Okay, and you see many of them taking as allies those who disbelieved. Surely it's evil from what has sent forth to them for their souls, for themselves, that they became angry, that God became angry on them and put them in a torment that they will abide in it forever. Many of them take disbelievers as allies. Their truly wicked misdeeds have earned God's wrath, and they will be in an everlasting torment.
Yeah.
So, do good, be right, or suffer. Which always seemed like, when I first read the Quran, I always thought that there was so much mention of suffering, and I thought that it's like, oh, it's not fair that they're saying you should suffer and you should suffer, but it's not saying a group of people should suffer. It's saying a group of people that disbelieve and don't do good and don't do what has been revealed to them. Those are the ones that should suffer. Like, so even from all the people, that nobody's saying that you're going to hell unless you do what's right, and you do what's right based on the guidance, and you do what's right that you've seen. So I don't mind the suffering as much as now that the more that I read the Quran, the more that I understand it. And the last verse.
ولو كانوا يؤمنون بالله والنبي وما أنزل إليه ما اتخذوهم أولياء ولكن
And if they had believed in God and the Prophet and what was revealed to them, they would not have taken them as guardians, they would not have taken the disbelievers as guardians, but indeed many of them are defiantly disobedient. Yep, very clear. Only if you're defiantly disobedient is their punishment. You have to listen to the guidance and the clearance that you get from the messengers and the prophets. Very clear. Still not into the Last Supper, but hopefully that'll come up soon. Is there anything you want to say before we kind of wrap things up? As usual, we always end the Quran with Sadaq Allahu al-Ali al-Azim, which means trusted is the word of God, who's most high and most grand and great. But thank you for attending another episode, and we'll catch you next week. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Ma salama. Love
Bye.
you. Ciao, ciao.